And it looked like Kevin Stefanski has confirmed Dillon Gabriel will be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. This specific press conference right here, because this is when we was going to find out what was going to happen with Shedeur Sanders, what was going to happen with Deshaun Watson. And I'm here to tell you, we got some answers, man. And let the week begin, because Shedeur ain't even practicing right now. Kevin Stefanski is telling the world that Shedeur is still dealing with this back injury. Now, Shedeur did return back to Boulder, Colorado over the weekend. Now, he said he was...
So Kevin Stefanski just lit the fuse on Cleveland's biggest drama of the season. And no, it's not about bad calls or broken plays. It's way deeper than that. The man literally stood there and confessed that Shedeur Sanders is not playing, while Dillon Gabriel is suddenly the golden child of the Browns. Can you believe this? Cleveland just turned into a real-life football soap opera with all the twists, tension, and public meltdowns to match. Is this some kind of galaxy brain strategy, or is it pure chaos disguised as leadership? Whatever it is, this situation's spinning out fast, and it's about to get ugly. The moment that press conference kicked off, you could feel it. That signature Cleveland pressure in the air, the kind that whispers, something crazy's about to go down. Fans were glued to their screens like it was the Super Bowl of confusion. And then Stefanski walked up to that mic with a face that screamed, damage control. You didn't even need sound to know the storm was coming. Everyone expected clarity, the long-awaited Shedeur update, maybe even some hint that the Browns were turning a corner. Instead, we got a public train wreck dressed up as professionalism. Stefanski started talking about the Shedeur situation like a teacher explaining why the class pet went missing.
Super quick follow-up on that. Why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play?
Yeah, obviously my focus is where we are right now, Mary Kay. That's not my focus.
Every word dug the hole deeper. He said Shedeur is not just sitting out, he's completely out. No practice, no reps, not even pretending to stretch on the sidelines. Apparently, he's dealing with a back injury that's now more famous than half the Browns' offensive line. And the second those words left his mouth, the whole room's energy crashed like a bad stock market. You could literally see reporters exchanging that, here we go again. Look, it's the same story on repeat. Another week, another mysterious injury, another trust the process speech from a coach who seems to trust everything except his own quarterbacks. It's exhausting. And then came the curveball, the real jaw dropper. Word broke that Shedeur actually left Cleveland and went back to Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, that's right. When things fall apart in Cleveland, apparently the smartest move is to run to the mountains. Sources say he's back there rehabbing with a trainer named Lauren, trying to get his back right and his mind focused. But people can't stop asking, is this really just about recovery?
Now, Deion Sanders Jr. did drop a video of Shedeur working out with trainer Lauren up in Colorado. So maybe Shedeur is having troubles with his back. I'm not going to deny that. I'm saying that is facts. Now, we thought that, some way, somehow Shedeur was going to play. I'm here to tell you he's not going to play this week, guys. Judging off the tone of what Kevin Stefanski said, Shedeur's not playing. Now, another thing I thought was going to happen was Deshaun Watson going to be activated. I'm here to tell you Deshaun Watson is not going to.
Or is there something deeper going on? Because let's be real. When your supposed franchise quarterback skips town mid-season, it's not just a medical update anymore. It's a headline. And in Cleveland, headlines like that don't fade quietly. They explode. And maybe, just maybe, Stefanski's telling the truth. But come on, at this point, Cleveland fans would believe anything. If the man got up there and said Shedeur's back needed time to reconnect spiritually, half the locker room would start lighting sage and chanting for better karma. It's that kind of season. Stefanski swears Shedeur's getting better. But in Cleveland speak,
Stefanski had his press conference today and a very interesting back and forth with Mary Kay Cabot. She asked him some questions about Shedeur Sanders and the back tightness that held him out of yesterday's game. And some of the nuggets in there were quite interesting, if you ask me. So she said Shedeur mentioned in the locker room yesterday, either before or after the game, that it wasn't his decision not to be active in the game yesterday. Now, I know that's not always a big deal because obviously it is the medical staff and the coaching decision whether or not a player is going to be active and all that kind of stuff. But for the player to actually voice
that basically means he's still breathing, but don't expect a miracle. This team has mastered the art of vague optimism, like a PR class on how to make losing sound philosophical. Every injury update feels like reading a mystery novel with missing pages, but then, boom, Stefanski drops the real bombshell. You can hear it in his voice before he even says the words. That little pause, that nervous tone, that look that screams bad news incoming. And there it is. Shedeur isn't playing. Not this week. Maybe not next week. Maybe not until the Browns figure out what offense they're even running. Like seriously, what is this team anymore? And just when you think it can't possibly get more confusing, Stefanski pivots straight into the Deshaun Watson portion of the circus, because of course there's always a Deshaun subplot. So now we've got one quarterback who can't move his back, another who's practically vanished, and a head coach who's starting to sound less like a football leader and more like a political press secretary trying to dodge tough questions. But hold up, the drama didn't stop there. Stefanski decided to toss one more grenade into the chaos. Right there in the middle of the press conference, he announces, totally casual, like it's no big deal, that he's handing over play calling duties to Tommy Rees. Just like that, no buildup, no warning, just boom. Tommy's in charge now. You could practically hear the reporters gasp. And then comes the kicker. Turns out that wasn't even true. Word leaked that Stefanski never actually gave up those duties at all. He's been clutching that play sheet like a toddler hanging onto his favorite toy car. The deception, the confusion, the theatrics.
Guys, hey, I want to play. I can play. I mean, would that have factored into this at all? Or what was the thinking behind that and how'd that go?
Yeah, he obviously came in Saturday with his back injury. We were hopeful that he'd be able to move around well enough to suit up on Sunday, but put him through a pregame warm-up, and obviously just didn't feel like he was ready to play, Mary Kay. But he's getting better every day, and I'm hopeful.
It's classic Cleveland chaos. This isn't just a press conference anymore. It's an episode of the Browns unscripted. So now, after all the chaos, Stefanski finally lets go, or at least pretends to. Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator who probably didn't even see this coming, just got handed the keys to the Browns' broken-down offense. Imagine being told, congrats, you're in charge of fixing this disaster. It's like being handed the Titanic mid-sink and told, you got this, right? The way Stefanski tried to explain it made the whole thing sound even more ridiculous. Meanwhile, inside that locker room, everyone's putting on their best poker face. You've got players nodding like, yeah, totally, we knew this was happening. But come on, no one knew. Half the team probably found out on Twitter before Stefanski even finished talking. The confusion was so thick you could cut it with a playbook. But here's where it really hits. When Stefanski handed over those plays, he wasn't just delegating. He was basically admitting defeat. That's the Browns' version of waving a white flag, except instead of surrendering, they just pass the flag to someone else and call it strategy. It's like a never-ending loop of bad decisions dressed up as leadership. And it's not like the rest of the squad's making things easier. Cleveland's quarterbacks are out here collecting MRIs like kids trading Pokemon cards.
Or himself felt the need to express that it was not his decision to be inactive for the game. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I thought that was interesting because she then follows it up with, if Shedeur had come to you guys and said, hey, I want to play, I can play, would that have factored into this at all, or what was the thinking behind it? And Kevin answered like this. He said, yeah, he obviously came in Saturday with his back injury. We were hopeful that he'd be able to move around well enough to suit up on Sunday, but put him through a pregame warm-up and obviously just didn't feel like he was ready to play, Mary Kay. And here's where the interesting nugget comes in. He says, but he's getting better every day. And
every week it's a new scan, a new excuse, a new question mark. Reporters could barely hold themselves back. You could see it in their faces. Everyone wanted to ask about Flacco, the same veteran the Browns tossed aside like old equipment, who's now out there lighting up the league while Cleveland's stuck juggling 3 quarterbacks, one hurt, one missing, and one who doesn't even know he's starting yet. It's pure madness, the kind only Cleveland can deliver. The kind of chaos that makes fans scream at their TVs while the front office calls it part of the process. So here comes Dillon Gabriel, the new guy who just showed up, blinked twice, and somehow landed smack in the middle of this quarterback dumpster fire, only to end up at the top of the depth chart. It's like winning a raffle you didn't even enter. The poor guy probably thought he was signing up for an opportunity, not a survival challenge. Don't get it twisted, Dillon's got talent, no doubt, but the idea of him stepping into this mess feels like watching someone walk into a burning building with a bucket of Gatorade. Like, bro, good luck. It's your show now. And the best part, Stefanski didn't even say it directly. Nope, he just kind of implied it like he wanted everyone to play a guessing game. That's apparently Cleveland's new strategy, confusion. Nobody knows who's starting. Not even the guy starting.
When they come and say things about Shedeur Sanders, all you have to do is say, look, I get it. Shedeur has a very, big personality and he's known globally, right? But I know Shedeur Sanders as a person, and as what I see here. He works hard, he's intelligent, he puts the work in, he's humble, he's a great teammate. And all of those things, I hope you guys get an opportunity to see that eventually when he gets on the field. And guess what? It would diffuse all bad articles and people would go away. But since you won't say his name, the vultures...
It's like the entire organization is running on mystery mode. So let's take stock of this circus for a second. Shedeur's back is still on vacation, Deshaun's somewhere ghosting the team like a bad Tinder match, and now Tommy Rees, who was probably just trying to enjoy a quiet day, has become the new play caller in chief. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel is over there quietly tightening his chin strap, hoping nobody notices the panic in his eyes. And while all that's happening, Joe Flacco's out there with another team, casually reminding everyone what competence looks like. You couldn't script this better if you tried. Then came the press conference Q&A, and that was the cherry on this chaotic Sunday. You could feel the exhaustion in that room. Every reporter had the same look like, does anyone here actually know what's happening? And the answer clearly was no. It's as if the Browns are now operating on pure improv rules. Just make it up and hope for the best. At one point, Stefanski actually said, "We haven't played our best football yet." And someone in the back probably wanted to shout, "Coach, you haven't played any football yet." Every answer he gave made things even murkier. "We're confident in our guys," he said. "Which ones, coach? The ones with working spines or the ones still in the rehab room?" He even added, "We like our skill positions," like that was supposed to mean something. It was comedy, disguised as leadership.
Dillon Gabriel plays poorly against the Jets. I think that's out. He's going to be stripped of them powers. Because what you're telling me is that you had 2 weeks to prepare him. You could bring him over for dinner, go over all the plays. You guys can watch, get in your DVR together, watch Grey's Anatomy, reruns of a House, or whatever you're going to do, The Office, and you guys can get together.
And Cleveland fans have seen this movie way too many times. Sure, coach, but it's kind of hard to use your weapons when your offense looks straight up allergic to touchdowns. Stefanski stood there, talking about getting Jerry Jeudy more involved. But involved in what exactly? The chaos? The confusion? The weekly injury report? It's like every time he opens his mouth, he's performing a masterclass in misdirection. You'd swear he's reading from a script written by someone who's never watched a football game, but has a PhD in corporate buzzwords. He hits all the greatest hits. We're staying focused. We're building confidence. We're creating opportunities. Translation? We're spinning in circles, but at least we look professional while doing it. It's become a Cleveland tradition at this point, the kind of motivational talk that sounds great in theory, but collapses the second the offense hits the field. And then came the best part. Stefanski actually brought up the Jets game like it was some big opportunity.
2 weeks in a bye week, you can't get none of this off. The powers of the Black Panther has now been stripped away. Exactly. That's why I got popcorn. I'm just chilling. I'm just reminding y'all what y'all said. Now, by the way, don't get mad at little me. I was there when you said all the stuff. And by the way, I rebutted in real time. I ain't sit here and say, no, hold on now. I rebutted in real time. You got to accept.
Sure, maybe it's an opportunity for disaster. You've got a brand new play caller, a backup to the backup quarterback, and a locker room trying to decode your riddles like they're auditioning for National Treasure. What could possibly go wrong, right? By the time that press conference wrapped up, you could feel the fatigue through the screen. Reporters were closing their laptops like, we've heard enough. Players were avoiding eye contact like kids in class, praying not to get called on. And there was Stefanski, still pretending everything's fine, like a dad insisting the family road trip isn't falling apart while the car's overheating on the highway. The Browns have officially reached that beautiful level of dysfunction where things are so bad, they've become entertaining. It's not even tragedy anymore. It's performance art. You can't help but laugh at the absurdity, but hey, credit where it's due. It takes real talent to say so much and explain absolutely nothing. Every sentence that comes out of Stefanski's mouth feels like it's pumped through a fog machine. Plenty of smoke, zero clarity. You can practically see the confusion hanging in the air. And that locker room? Whoa, it's awkward. Players are stretching in total silence, trainers whispering like it's top secret intel, and somewhere in the corner, Dillon Gabriel's probably sitting there wondering, so, am I actually starting or nah? Nobody knows. Meanwhile, Shedeur's probably back in Boulder watching this circus unfold on TV like, they said what now? Deshaun's off the grid somewhere with zero signal, and Stefanski's likely already drafting his next big accountability press conference, the Apology Tour 2.0. If there's one thing Cleveland does better than any other team, it's making inconsistency look like an actual business model. They can't just have a normal injury update. No way. It's got to be an event. They can't just name a starter. Nope. It has to be a full-blown suspense thriller with more plot twists than a Netflix drama. This is the Browns we're talking about. Every week's a new episode of confusion, and fans can't decide if they should laugh, cry.
It's no use for Shedeur. It's going to take the owner stepping in and saying no to Stefanski, but I'm going to tell you what tears me up about this. They have the fourth easiest schedule remaining. They have what Pro Football Focus ranks the #1 defense in pro football. This draft pick. So it scares me because Stefanski is going to fight for his life and his job and his draft pick, a third-round pick in Dillon. It tears my guts out to watch what's happening to Shedeur with a chance. This is on a silver platter for somebody to take the reins. So I'm not loving this for Shedeur unless Jimmy Haslam just steps in and says, okay, that's enough.
Or start meditating. So here's where we stand. The coach supposedly gave up play calling, the quarterbacks are dropping like flies, and the team's entire identity sits somewhere between confused and concerned. And when it all inevitably falls apart, you can bet Stefanski will step up to the mic and call it part of the plan. Probably say something poetic about building resilience through adversity. The Browns have somehow turned dysfunction into a tradition. Every season it's the same movie. High hopes, early injuries, weird press conferences, random quarterback rotations, and a head coach who could turn bad news into a TED Talk. The man just got a new quarterback room and probably doesn't even know all their names yet. And now he's expected to lead an offense that doesn't even know who's calling the plays. It's madness dressed up as management. And in Cleveland, that's just another Sunday. It's like showing up late to a group project and realizing, surprise, you're the one presenting. That's exactly what Dillon Gabriel just walked into. And maybe, just maybe, Stefanski thinks he's finally about to discover some inner peace by stepping back. But let's be real. This is Cleveland. If something can go wrong, it's not just gonna go wrong.
Start actually winning a couple games. Now, Stefanski, you got to get fired. Because imagine a world where your quarterback is better than you. Imagine a world where your quarterback is more desired than you. The fan base already gravitates towards Shedeur Sanders. The world gravitates towards Shedeur Sanders. Does he have his haters? Absolutely. But jersey sales gravitate towards Shedeur Sanders. There's not a world now where Shedeur can go ball and Kevin Stefanski can continue to be the coach. Because if I'm Shedeur and I start balling, hell nah, I don't want this dude as my coach. Because he didn't believe in me in the first place. And how can Kevin Stefanski now, Shady, try to turn his tune in?
It's gonna explode on live TV. So buckle up, because the Browns season isn't ending. It's entering its comedy phase. quarterbacks are dropping like flies, the coach is fumbling his own announcements, and every press conference feels like an episode of The Office, except this one's set in a locker room full of confused athletes. Maybe next week we'll finally get some clarity. Maybe Shedeur's back miraculously heals overnight. Deshaun reappears from whatever mysterious void he's hiding in, and Tommy Rees turns into the next offensive mastermind. But let's be honest, the far more likely outcome is that the Browns will find yet another creative way to confuse everyone again. No matter what happens, one thing's certain: Cleveland will always keep us entertained. While other teams are chasing trophies, the Browns are out here perfecting chaos. And honestly, they're undefeated at that. It's their true brand, not winning games, but rewriting the definition of football drama every single week. By the time that press conference hit its final minutes, it stopped feeling like football news and started sounding like a halftime comedy special. Stefanski sat there trying to look calm, pretending all of this was part of some master plan, when in reality it was the football version of a group project where everyone brought different PowerPoints and no one rehearsed. He was out there saying all the right things. We believe in Dylan, we're confident in the team, while his eyes kept darting toward the door like he was secretly hoping Shedeur might just walk in and save him from his own words. It was chaos, confusion, and comedy rolled into one, the perfect Cleveland trifecta. Because when it comes to turning disaster into entertainment, the Browns don't just participate, they dominate. You could almost hear the poor equipment manager sighing in the background, because let's be real, this whole team's morale is being held together by caffeine, confusion, and one inspirational quote taped crookedly above the laundry bins. It's absolute madness. The locker room doesn't even feel like a football team anymore. It's straight up reality TV with shoulder pads. The defensive guys are whispering like contestants on a survival show.
Well, I'm not satisfied. Nope. I'm not impressed. I'm not happy. Nope. Yes, we may see less stupid shit being called. He's done calling plays, but he's still the leader of the team. The team is still under his leadership. And guess what? The quarterback is still his guy. The quarterback is still the same. With all that being said, what the fuck do we possibly expect to change? Now, if you announce this and saying we're going to move forward with Shedeur this week, hey, I might got some.
Trying to guess who's getting voted off next. The rookies, they're texting their agents, asking if starter by default counts as a bonus clause. You can't make this stuff up. And the funniest part, Stefanski keeps preaching stability like it's his personal mantra. Every press conference, same line: we're staying steady, we're staying focused. But every time he says it, something else falls apart. First it was Deshaun's shoulder, then it was Shedeur's mysterious disappearance. Now the entire offensive strategy is melting faster than a snow cone in Miami. This isn't football anymore, it's theater. The kind where nobody remembers their lines, but the show must go on anyway. And somehow, through it all, Stefanski is still out here acting like the director of this tragic comedy, trying to convince everyone that the script isn't a total disaster. You gotta give him credit. He delivers chaos with confidence. By the time practice rolled around, the tension was thick enough to bench press. Dylan Gabriel's out there taking first-team reps, looking like he accidentally walked into someone else's dream. Shedeur's pacing on the sideline, clearly wondering how the NFL turned into a group therapy session gone wrong. The offensive coordinators are pretending to take notes. The receivers are quietly praying that whoever's throwing the ball can actually reach them. And Stefanski's rocking that tight-lipped grin that screams, "Everything's fine," when absolutely nothing is fine. It's chaos dressed up as preparation, confusion disguised as leadership. The media's circling like sharks, the locker room's buzzing with rumors, and everyone's pretending this circus is just part of the plan. Sure, coach, if the plan was to confuse the entire team, ignite another quarterback controversy, and officially turn Cleveland into the NFL's favorite soap opera, then mission accomplished. And hey, what do you think? Is this just another Cleveland collapse, or are we witnessing the most unpredictable comeback story in football? Drop your thoughts down below, hit that like button, subscribe for more wild updates, share it with your crew, and we'll see you on the next one.